Good evening, welcome to of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Let me share my screen and we'll get started with our opening prayers. Able to see my screen? Great. Let me just make it in a gallery view. Okay, we'll get started then. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Right. So Radhe Radhe, morning, good evening, everyone, once again. So let's get started. We are on Shloka 4.40. Like always, we'll start with our Soul Soup segment, where we are talking about the happiness, fulfillment, and success series. And as part of that, we were talking about what is the remedy for stress. And that's where we started off with the concept of Karam Yoga. The first one, we spoke about the focus on process and not think about the results aspect of it. Then we marched on to say that practice the presence of God. And today we will build on that series and we'll say that let's talk about it. Okay, I think the first we need to get into that and then we get into the shloka. So in the Soul Soup segment, as continuation of this, so remedy for stress, which Lord Krishna had told 5,000 years ago, is if you practice Karam Yoga, don't just do action, but mix it with yoga. And yoga is where you relinquish or give up the fruits of your action. You focus on the process with the humility and understanding that you don't control the results. Now, whether you like it or not, the results is something that is a function of a lot of variables, including your hard work, of course. So the results are in God's hands. And when you don't focus on the results, you are able to perform much better than you would otherwise do. Right. So the remedy for stress is Karam Yoga, like we spoke about. And yesterday we spoke about the practice of the presence of God. So when we say practice the presence of God, what we need to practice or deepen is God is both my protector and my witness. So this is the understanding we need to have. He's not only my protector, but also my witness. And then we need to not limit our devotion to temple alone, right? We think when we go to temple or church or, any religious place, that is where God resides. And then after that, we are having a free hit for the rest of the day. Whatever our mind is telling us. So we need to take that. We need to carry God with us. That is the whole idea of practicing the presence of God. Carry God wherever you go with an understanding that He's both my protector and my witness. Of course, it will take a bit of practice to deepen that understanding. Like any other thing in life, even when we started, to walk, we could not. We have forgotten that. We started to, crawl and then, gradually limp our way, and until we started walking and then we started running, and not some of us, but some of the people, they went on to win gold medal in Olympics as well. Did they know how to do it when they were born? They were not, right? Same thing, like Maharajji was telling in today's lecture, it takes practice for everything. When we learned bicycle, technically, if you look at it, you have to hold the handle and put your, just move your feet, pedal your way through. But does that work? Doesn't work. It takes a bit of practice to begin with until it becomes your second nature. And same thing goes with when you start practicing the presence of God. The second aspect that I wanted to bring is the purity of intention. That also removes stress. Now you say purity of intention, how does that remove stress? So purity of intention is, technically speaking, purity of intention. When the intention is purified, you see yourself as a servant of God, not somebody as a doer and an enjoyer. See, why does the stress come? When we think of ourselves as a doer. and we think ourselves as the enjoyer of our fruits. But when you simply think you are the servant of God, the stress will go away, right? Let's say you are supposed to plan for a program, right? And you wanted about 20,000 or 50,000 people to come in that program. Now, if you're thinking you are doing it, you'll of course have stress around it. But if you think you have to do your best and you're not entitled to the results, then that stress would be relieved. You're simply doing in your best and leaving to God the rest. So, thinking of yourself as a servant of God is the true purity of intention. But when you think yourself as a doer, in context of Karma Yoga, it is still not a pure intention. Okay, so this is a very deep concept, but yeah, that's what actually is helpful in removing stress as well, right? So it's like you you do your best, and when you know that for whom you are doing, right? If that person is going to give you a certain result at the end of the day, right? So it's like this: you are working in a company, and your employer tells you, you do your best. Regardless of the outcome, I'm just going to look at your effort. Regardless of the outcome, you're going to get your salary and the bonuses. How stress-free that process would be. Right now, why do we get stressed? Because your employer is expecting a certain performance from you. If you don't meet that goal, your appraisal will not be nice. You will not get your bonus. You'll not get your salary hike. And you may even, not even get the promotion that you were looking or for that matter, you may be shipped out of the company. That causes stress, right? But let's say your employer comes, one day your boss comes or your company boss comes, he say, you know what? All I care for is your best effort. That's all I care for. And based on your effort, you will continue to draw your salary and bonuses as well. How stress-free that situation and experience would be. So same thing happens in Karam Yoga. You simply consider yourself as a servant of God, and it's in discharging your duty to the best of your ability, you get the results. It becomes a very stress-free experience. I hope you're able to relate to it. You don't have any sales targets here. God says, give me your effort. That's what I'm going to look for. And you will get the due credit for everything that you have put your efforts for, regardless of the outcome. Don't worry about the outcome. I don't care about the outcome because I know what is the best outcome. Leave it to me. It becomes very stress-free. So the purity of intention is very important. Consider yourself, do not consider yourself as a doer or an enjoyer. That will immediately bring in peace towards your effort. And you can start leveraging this nugget in your day-to-day life, including your professional life. Okay. So your boss will not tell you that in the company, but you need to bring in that mindset in your work. And then even your performance will become really good. Let's move on to the topic of our discussion. So seeing ourselves as the servants of God is the purity of intention that we are talking about. Okay. So yesterday we spoke about, the three types of sadhaks in the two dimensions, knowledge and firm faith. And we said that the top class sadhaks is the one who have firm faith and good knowledge, foundational knowledge. Tattva Gyan is solid, faith is solid. Okay, that is a top class sadhak. Medium class sadhak, faith is good, knowledge is not. Okay, so it could be a little shaky, especially when you come in contact with kusang, and other things can happen because when the why is not clear, the how and what part can be a little shaky as well. So why has to be very, very sorted out in our head. Swamiji talks about willpower, right? The willpower is something that we have to exercise, for so many things that we want to achieve in our life. But then even beyond willpower or more stronger than willpower is called why power. And that is why the why aspect has to be really sorted out for us to be successful on the path of spirituality as well. And the lowest class sadhak is the one who lacks knowledge and who lacks no faith as well, both. There's inadequacy in both aspects. And that is typically what a Sanshayatma would be. Sanshayatma would be in all the three categories. The proportion of Sanshay, doubt, Shanka would vary. But the lowest class sadhak would always have higher amount of doubts And somebody who's not even a sadhak, forget about, okay, little bit of knowledge or little bit of faith, no knowledge, right? So that 0 0 coordinate, those people will always have doubts. Okay, so let's move on to this topic. So doubt and faith, they are two sides of the same coin. Doubt and faith are, like I said, so if you don't have faith, it's a huge barrier to your spiritual progress. Faith is an essential ingredient. Shraddha aspect is very important. Even the Ram Katha that Swamiji started off with, he spoke about the Shraddha. What you need is Shraddha. If you have start with doubt or Shanka, then you will not get the true import of the scriptures as well. Right. So this journey is a journey from understanding to understanding, not from doubt to doubt. So Shraddha aspect is a essential ingredient on this path. And then faith is something that we've been talking about. It's more of an intelligent faith. Nobody's asking us to go just with our feelings or by hearsay, because I'm telling you so, just believe it. No. Even if you look at Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is telling to Arjun, after giving the entire Gyan of Bhagavad Gita, he finally tells him, Yathechasi tatha kuru. Now you decide for yourself what is good for you and do it. He gives him the free will, right? Now he can exert a free will only if he has a faith, right? Around that part that, okay, I'm going to put faith in what Lord Krishna has told, right? So for us, we are not fighting a battle. We are fighting a battle in our own ways, but not like Arjun. Okay, there was a reason Bhagavad Gita or the setting or the context of Bhagavad Gita was chosen as a battlefield, because it's the most complex, one of the most complex and stressful situations one can envision. So if Arjun could sail through that, our battles in comparison to what Arjun was feeling are nothing, right? Our battles with our boss and our relatives, friends, situations, circumstances, they stand nowhere in comparison with what Arjun was feeling at that point. Now, faith, when I talk about intelligent faith, is you start off, don't take it on the just, take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, this seems a little lofty. The concept seems a little lofty, but let me give it a shot, okay, and see how it works. Next time the situation, and there is no dearth of situations in our life, in our day-to-day life and in general as well. Let me experiment with it. Okay, let me see what happens if I simply quickly rebound to acceptance, or try to reason with my mind, fight with my mind and do this, or try to let go, have acceptance around situations, not complain, pray to God that I don't need to complain, have an acceptance. You just try to follow that process, not think about the results, but focusing on putting in my best in a particular situation, trying to enjoy the journey rather than having an outcome oriented mindset. You do that and see what difference does it make to your day-to-day life. If it doesn't make a difference, where is the world running away? Your de facto plan is anyway working, right? So it's not that you're going to lose out on something big. What you're doing is anyway going to be there, world is going to be there, and your modus operandi, the de facto modus operandi, the way you operate is going to be there. So it's not that you're going to lose something, but what if you gain something, and then that will reinforce your faith and enable you to take the next step around it. So you are the sample, world is the laboratory. So the benefit of reading Bhagavad Gita is, let's take these principles and see how best we can apply it to our day-to-day lives and see what happens. Like a scientific experiment, you go with the hypothesis, it will work. Then you carry out the experiment, you look at the results, and then you verify the hypothesis, if it supports that hypothesis or not. If it doesn't, reject it. But if it does, you don't know how much benefit you have gained for your own spiritual journey in that case. So everything to gain, nothing to lose actually in this case. Think about it, right? In fact, Maharaj used to say that um, uh, big gamblers, that they play satta, they gamble. You go to Vegas, you'll put your lifetime's earnings into it. Some people do that. You get that kick, and all of a sudden you think Lady Luck is smiling on me, and they will play a big gamble in life. So when we play, and we have been playing gamble anyways in every human life, we have been gambling on the world. Let's gamble on God for a change and see what happens, just for the sake of it, right? The world is not going to run away anyways. So gamble on God and see where it takes you. So now gambling on God means aligning to his teachings. Right? Lord Krishna, He's spoken Bhagavad Gita so that we could benefit from this knowledge. It's like a manual for our life that he's giving us, and it's a recipe that he's giving us to get closer to him and reestablish the long forgotten relationship that we have with him. So he's giving all these principles to us so that we can get out, make our life easy, get out of all the entanglements that we are in, have a clear thinking, and then see what is our relationship with him, and then approach to him so that we can get out of this matrix that we are stuck in right now. So it's for our benefit only that he has given this knowledge. Now, in spiritual progress, devoid of faith, like the person who has doubt, it's a big barrier, like we said, right? If we have doubt or questions, but if we change our response to that, we can operate with faith, put our spiritual knowledge into practice, and experience it as well, right? Now, what Arjun is asking is a doubt. He's not skeptical. He's not telling Krishna, let me prove you wrong. Okay, he's asking very humbly. And it's a dialogue that is unfolding. It's not a top down thing, right? Like if you look at in a lot of traditions, it's like I'm telling you, so believe it. It's a dialogue that is unfolding. He's asking a question, Krishna is answering. Then he's asking a follow-up question, Krishna is explaining. So this is a beautiful dialogue that is unfolding. And if you look at the questions, they are so carefully curated by Arjun. He's very smart. Right? He's anyway Nar Narayan. He's a Nar avatar. He's already realized. So God has planted that seed, but then him being him, he's asking questions in a manner that would alleviate doubts in the generations to come. Every doubt that you can think of has been asked in some form or manner. And every question that a human being could have on the path of spirituality is tackled very, very systematically by Lord Krishna. Right? You cannot go into Bhagavad Gita, start reading Bhagavad Gita, or say I have claimed to have read Bhagavad Gita and say, you know what, my question is not answered. There is absolutely no question under the sun any human being can have related to any topic or practical living which is not answered in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And that is how powerful this knowledge is. And you can, but the key is to have faith and then experiment with it and then start reaping the benefits out of it, right? This is how the process, it's a journey of faith, but intelligent faith, not a blind faith. Now, a small leap of faith is necessary to even to operate in this world. We have spoken about it, right? Like, for example, if you go to a barber, they'll not cut your neck. If you have that, how will you even get your haircut done? If you're always skeptical about it, you will not even get a haircut. And then not everybody can look like Swamiji also, right? With long hair. So it's important to go to barbers as well. And then we eat at restaurants, and then we go by third-party reviews. We got tricked into third-party reviews for a hotel booking only recently, right? We go by that, we put faith, and that faith can sometimes put us down as well. But we do put faith in Yelp. We go to Yelp and look at what people are saying, and we believe, okay, what they are saying is right. Even for that matter, the person who's carrying out the food for you on the table, you have a faith in that person is not going to poison your food or do something, hocus pocus with that. So that there's a bit of faith involved there as well, right? Even when you board a flight, you do take a leap of faith that the pilot is not high on weeds, right? And he's not going to play video game with you along the way. So a lot of faith goes in a lot of activities that we do. When you're driving on a road, you have a faith that the driver on either side of the road is not a cranky guy, or high on alcohol in the night who's going to crash my car and this is going to happen. You're taking a leap of faith. When you're crossing a road, you take a leap of faith that people are going to obey the traffic lights and nobody's going to come and hit you, but hit and run still happens. So you take faith in every walk of life, right? We factually walk by faith, not by sight. Okay, that is also saying. So when it comes to faith, but when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to the scriptural things, that's where we start having doubt, right? Now, the great saints who have come from time to time, they have given tons of commentaries on this literature, but still we are not able to put faith on it, complete faith on it. There's always a but, however, that comes, and that becomes our undoing lifetime after lifetime. And this is ironical, but this is how it happens. And then these teachings are timeless teachings, which are relevant regardless of which times that you are in. Rather than benefiting from it, we limit ourselves. And with that doubt, we keep repeating in every life, right? We pick one doubt. Okay, everything makes sense, but this doesn't, but this doesn't. So that becomes our undoing. Now moving on. Okay, I don't know what you're seeing here. So let's talk about two-legged animal. Who's two-legged animal here in the shloka? So the shloka, Agyascha, right? That God is basically in this particular thing. Those are the people who are equated to animals. Or who are the animals? They're human guys. What? Why? Because they limit the entire life to these four activities: eating, mating, defending, and sleeping, like animals. That means they have absolutely no knowledge, nor do they have the motivation to acquire it for spiritual elevation. Okay. Now, why are they called two-legged animals? Because animals are also doing these activities. What big deal if you have limited your life to these activities alone, right? What we eat, like rasgulla, chana bhatura, and all that stuff, a cow gets the same pleasure by eating plain grass. Okay. Same pleasure, quantum of pleasure is same. And they don't even have to worry about diabetes or cholesterol. Right? That is how their pleasure is. It is immune to those kind of things as well. When it comes to mating, humans produce babies, and animals and some of the insects, they can produce hundreds of babies in one shot. Okay. When it comes to defending, we defend ourselves using our money, bank balance, the shelters, ashrays that we have created, based on our relatives, friends, and so many things, our insurance policies and stuff like that. Animals do it a little more primitively. They use their teeth and claws for that, to defend themselves. And they also defend, we also defend. We do it in a sophisticated way. And then sleeping, we do sleep, animals sleep as well. We sleep on mattresses, comforts of our home, and a dog, when he's lying on a bare floor, gets the same amount of pleasure like we do when we are in sleep. Okay, the same kind of pleasure is there. It's not that we are getting some extra pleasure. So if you think about it, if our life is led around these activities alone, it is nothing but a deluxe animal life. And those people, they are called Agyascha. When we talk about Agyascha, Shraddhadhanascha, Agyascha aspect is basically the people who are simply leading a glorified animal life, nothing beyond that. And when does it happen? It happens when we don't have any spark of seeking higher truths in life. We are happy studying. Studying is good, but beyond that, earning and leading a normal life, eating, sleeping, mating, and driving cars, getting houses, thinking, worrying about our insecurities, more money, and then one day just moving on from this world. So that is a life wasted, is what our scriptures are saying, and they are compared to two-legged animals. Okay. The next is Sanshayatma, right? What it's talking about. So now people take Vedas, they put into practice for sense gratification. That aspect they will take. Okay, you do this will happen. You do this will happen. Right? Putra Kameshti Yagi, you do, this will happen. So they focus on the rosary aspects of Vedas alone. Okay, for sense gratification. But the portion that demands surrender to the Supreme Personality, they reject that part. Not reject, I mean, they conveniently put it aside on the back burner. Okay, so that also happens. What does it mean? Now let's look at the story. So here's a farmer, right, who has a lot of chickens on his farm, and then he has this special one. Okay, special one because it would give a golden egg every day. You would have read that story, right? It would get a golden egg every day. So this farmer, but he thinks, I'm getting golden egg, which is good. But then on the other hand, I have to feed this person as well, right? So one part of it is giving me golden egg, another part I have to feed, which is a bit painful. It's kind of an austerity, right? You have to maintain this particular hen and feed him. So he comes up with a smart plan. So this is what he does. Now, if this is what he does, you know what will happen, right? So that is where if we pick up our scriptures selectively, selectively means we'll focus on one aspect that, oh, this makes sense, but you reject something else, right? Which might require you to exert intellectually, or it may not make sense to you, right? Without Guru's grace, of course. And then you simply reject it. You say, no, I will do this, I will believe in this, but not in this. That is not how it's meant to be. That then you are fitting into the category of Sanshayatma. Okay, Sanshayatma is somebody who does not accept scriptures fully. They accept the portions of the scriptures or the teachings which make sense to them, or which is convenient to them, or which they can relate to based on their sanskars. But the ones which are hard to understand, which they may have to exert, or which may demand something out of them, like austerities, like sacrifice, like shanagati, practicing having acceptance, then your mind starts playing tricks and they say, no, 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 this does not make sense. And there are commentaries of Bhagavad Gita where people have gone on to even strike off stuff. What, this makes sense, but this means this. Otherwise, it does not mean anything. Like, for example, Krishna says that the Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam, right? They say, why does Krishna has to say that? Basically, I have to, he has so many, subordinates, he could have them do that. Or for example, the other examples too, I'll not get too much into it. People actually strike off that part as well. So that is where if we go like this farmer and say that, okay, one aspect of it makes sense, the other aspect I'm going to put it aside conveniently, then you fall into the Sanchyatma category, and that does not serve the purpose. You will continue rotating in this world, and Lord Krishna is saying you will not get that perfect bliss that you're always looking for. Yes, I saw a hand in between. Go ahead, Sandhya.
So I wanted to ask regarding the ritualistic things mentioned in the scriptures. We may not even understand them to be able to align to them, but that doesn't come in the category of not following things completely.
Not following things completely, ritualistic things are there. However, in the age of Kali, it is very clearly stated that for you to perform a ritual to perfection is not possible. We may do so for for our own what you call that satisfaction. People do yajna and they call them, and then they do this part and that part, which is fine. Something is better than nothing, but God has simplified it in Kali Yuga for us. So ritualistic aspect is there in our scriptures, but then practically it is impossible to do them perfectly, because the desh, kal, niyam, patra, dravya, even the pandit who's doing it, they have to be perfect. The recitation, the swar, the money that is being poured in, the time, the muhurat, the dravya that is being used, it has to be pure. Lot of things have to fall in place. And even if your swar goes up and down, you may not even get the right results. So ritualistic aspect is something which is there, but then it is something which is not recommended in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, only Hari Nam Sankirtan is the way to go for deliverance. Kirtan, God's name and remembrance is the only way in Kali Yuga, because we are not capable. Let's say you were in Satyuga or some other yugas, yes, it was possible. You had such Uchchakoti Brahman who would do it to the perfection. You had people with such more moral character, right, who would gain wealth from proper means. So they had a lot of things, the time and everything, they would understand that. So their rituals would make sense. Like people used to do Ashwamedh Yagya and stuff like that, right? Then rituals carry a meaning. Right now, it is okay to carry. Rituals are more a means to carry forward the tradition right now. But the true gain aspect of it from Karam can't alone, at best you can get to Swarg. You cannot do that to perfection either. So let's treat it more like a means, not an end at this point. And in Kali Yuga, I would say if God realization is our aim, we should focus more on cultivating love and faith for God than anything else. Any ritual that takes you to develop that, go for it. Any ritual that does not help you take your mind to God or develop love for Him or deepen faith and reject it without fear. This is how it goes. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. Like, just a quick follow-up was this, that as you said, that scriptures only say, right, that takes precedence, the paradharma and our intent. So the love for God takes precedence over even ritualistic things. So I mean, I was asking in the context that selective picking, we are focusing more on that which is a higher dharma. So even in that process, we end up not doing certain things which are prescribed as bodily dharmas. As per our scriptures, it's okay, right?
True. It's like when you're doing the higher, the lower is already covered, right? If you do, it's like if you become a millionaire, the poverty is automatically removed. So one aim could be that I'm going to remove my poverty. And one aim could be I'm going to become a trillionaire. So when you become a trillionaire, poverty is automatically removed. So when you are subscribing to God, deepening love, the ritualistic aspect is already covered. You don't have to worry about it. It was more a ladder than the destination itself. So you don't need that ladder. That means you are past that stage where you needed that ladder or a helping aid at that point. So rituals are more of a helping aid. In the contemporary times, rituals are important to carry the tradition forward. The kids, they will not understand the deeper principles right from the word go, but when they see their parents doing the rituals on Diwali, the Shahra, and all the things, the pujas and stuff like that, even though they might be through your senses alone, right, at least that is carrying the tradition forward. They'll understand it, right? And then in due course of time, they will develop faith aspect of it as well. That is the whole idea of having those rituals. You do it, and then the faith, eventually it should lead to faith, and then go to the deeper the principles behind performing those rituals as well. So that is the whole idea. So we cannot undermine rituals, but at the same time, we should not limit ourselves to rituals. But if you are already subscribed to the higher principles, rituals take a backseat in that case. You're not obligated to do those rituals at that point. Okay, so the key message was, if we are leading a life in ignorance, centered around these four activities, eating, mating, then we are two-legged animals. Okay, that is which the shloka, this aspect is talking about. Agyascha, Shraddha, and the second is the Sanchayatma. We said, like the Sanchayatma, we cannot selectively pick scriptures, right? This farmer story where I like the golden egg, but I don't like feeding it, right? So it doesn't work that way. You have to take both. Okay, you have to take both. It's the selective picking of scriptures is not good. Okay, in fact, it is also namaparad in a way, because you are undermining God's words. When you start putting a question mark, then you are undermining it, and that is not at all conducive for your spiritual journey as well. I'll talk about a few more examples. Tomorrow we'll conclude this session on this particular shloka, but Shraddha is important. And then our scriptures, we have to put in the faith in the word of God and Guru. Just take it on the face value, even if it doesn't make sense at this point. But like I said, it is an intelligent faith. It is not a blind faith. Your life is your laboratory. Go ahead and test it out. Gamble on God for a change. We have gambled on this world for far too long already, and the world is not running away anywhere. Right? Even if we fail, world is already there. It's with both hands. It's waiting for you. So gamble on God, gamble on these principles, and see where it takes you. That is the whole idea around this thing, right? And Sanshay is not good. Doubt, there is a difference between doubt and being skeptical. Doubt is what Arjun is having, because he wants to know. He wants to make a difference and know how to how to help his decision making in the situation that he's stuck in. So it's a doubt, and he's asking with reverence, and in all humility is accepting Krishna's word as well. And Krishna also is imparting him knowledge and giving him a free will towards that. He's saying, Yathechasi tatha kuru. Now you decide what is right for you. So both ways, you look at how a perfect master is and how a perfect disciple is, both way the thing is happening. And he's asking if there's a doubt. And after that, he says, all my doubts with your tat prasadat param, with your grace, all my doubts have gotten resolved now. And then he goes on and implements that knowledge in the battlefield. We are not like Arjun. We are not Naravatar as yet. But then we can go ahead and start implementing this knowledge in our day-to-day life. And if somebody is running short of opportunities, we can have a talk. Okay, nobody's running short of opportunities. God is giving us test every moment. right? So we have tons of opportunities to practice these principles. And when we start practicing these principles, we start reaping the benefit out of it because it is purifying. In the previous shloka, we were talking about this knowledge is purifying. It is cleaning you. And if something is cleaning me, helping me, what are the gains? It is help. It is cleaning me, first of all. Second, it is going to help me professionally, right? The very concept of Karam Yoga that we have taught, it's of course going to help you professionally. Then, is it going to make you a bad human being personally? You'll start fighting with people around, picking up fights with them and controversies in your day-to-day life? Of course not. You'll become much more efficient, effective in general, operating, navigating through the tricky situations of your life and even the tricky people who come in your life. Then what happens? Are you upset, angry, lack of peace? No, it's taking you closer to that. So everything to gain. It's like hitting a jackpot. So why not start implementing these principles right away? Whichever principle you can relate to. Karma Yoga is a great one, right? We are talking about this concept, having a purity of intention. Today we said that real purity of intention is actually having this understanding that I am a servant of God and I am not the doer and enjoyer. So start putting that one nugget, pick up one nugget and follow it for the rest of the life. You don't have to do anything. That itself will change your entire life. That is how powerful this knowledge is. And other aspect of this knowledge is that you pick one thing that you want to make a mission of your life. Okay, it could be some principle related to Karam Yoga. It could be some principle related to surrender. It could be as simple, not simple, as difficult as speaking truth all the time. Could be one thing. And if you make that as your priority or a mission of your life, like a pack of noodles, when you eat noodles, not one comes, the other come automatically. Other virtues will start coming automatically. It's not that you have started speaking truth, but then you have become dishonest in life, or you have started becoming more angry, or now it's very difficult to let go of things, or now you have lack of acceptance in situations around us. Everything else has to follow automatically. And that is a promise of Lord Krishna, right? So 16.3 talks about, I think 24 or 26 Daivik qualities, starting with being abhay, fearless. You pick up any one of these. In every shloka, there is one nugget that comes up. The rest will automatically follow. That is the beauty of this knowledge. Any questions? We have about 8 more minutes. We'll wrap it up a little early today, like I said. Now we have Ram Katha lecture starting, Swamiji. So we'll wrap it up tomorrow. There are a few more things I wanted to cover as part of this discussion. And then we will move on to our next shloka, 4.41. Now we're spending about 2-3 days per shloka, which is good. So any questions before we wrap it up? Feedback tracker, if not posted, please do. Post the feedback tracker and I'll share some pictures with you. I'm seeing so many familiar faces here in Banara retreat. A lot of people from our folks, participants from our session, daily wisdom session, who are here immersed in devotion and enjoying here the retreat experience. So we'll try to get a group pic, possibly with Swamiji or otherwise, and I'll share it with you. But yeah, any questions? Couple of questions
Yes.
we can and wrap it.
Difference between blind faith and intelligent faith.
See, blind faith is something that you take on face value and you are not given an opportunity to even question around it, right? Or there is no theory supporting it. It's like I'm telling you, just hear it. Okay, and you have to take it or leave it, kind of a deal, right? Intelligent faith is there is a bit of a theory that is supported. Like in case of Arjun, Lord Krishna is not telling I'm God. Don't you know who I am? So why are you asking me questions one after another? I've just told you, just keep listening to me. It's not like that. It's a dialogue that is unfolding. But for you to realize that knowledge, what Lord Krishna is telling, you have to do something about it, right? So now you are taking a leap of faith there as well. But then it is backed with some kind of a knowledge that is coming with some kind of a knowledge which makes sense. So once that is backed with knowledge, then for it to become realization, you have to take some step like science. In science also, you go with a hypothesis and then you carry out an experiment and then the results would support it or disapprove it. So in this case, intelligent faith is where you are willing to do it on the backdrop of some knowledge. It just makes sense to you. And then that knowledge will become realization and then you don't need, you just know it makes sense and it works. And with spiritual knowledge, the benefit is that it's like cooked rice. I always say that, not like this. Cooked rice means when your rice is cooked, you don't go and check grain by grain. Is it cooked or not? You taste a little bit of it and you know, you can safely assume rest of it is cooked as well. So that is the difference between one is more out of feeling and authority. The other is more about with some logic, and it is something which is having some kind of a foundation behind it as well, right? And you understand your why is becoming clear, why it is important, and then how part of it you only have to implement it, and then take benefit from it. And someone may say faith is in blind. Yeah, that is also a way of looking at it, but I would call it an intelligent faith. It is on the backdrop of some foundational knowledge. Yeah.
Go ahead, Pratisha ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone. So I have question that you said that pick one thing. So is it regarding picking one path or is it regarding picking a quality that you want to work
Quality.
on yourself?
Quality.
Quality. Okay.
One quality you pick, one Devik gun you pick, it will attract more of it. It's like you subscribe to a positive energy and it will attract more of it. This is the law of universe itself. You attract one negative thing, it will attract more vices. You attract one positive, one good thing leads to another, one bad thing leads to another, and another. So this is how it goes.
Okay. So, and in that also, I sometimes feel that whatever like a person is doing in terms of progressing, is it enough? So, then sometimes you do sadhan where you are, sadhan bhakti, where you are praying or you're doing some kind of, bodily activities. You say like some yoga or so. Is it enough? So, how do we know what we are doing? Because you said that we have to inculcate that quality and then the path, so it's like really confusing like what to do.
No, every activity can become devotional, right? If you are doing yoga, your so that is clear, right? Why you are doing yoga? So that the vehicle that God has given you in this life is taken care of. You cannot complete your spiritual journey without this vehicle. So your motive, the so that, is clear, right? You have to eat food so that you can nourish this vehicle, not that so that you can enjoy that next rasgulla or laddu ka besan ka laddu rather. So that is clear for that, right? So everything becomes devotional in that sense. So now you're propelling or channelizing it towards that particular activity. Again, goes back to the same example I gave you, right? This guy is working hard in office so that finally he can marry that girl. So that becomes clear. And then when that knowledge is ingrained in your head, then every activity that you are doing is no longer about your own enjoyment at that point, right? You may enjoy in the process, there's no harm in enjoying, but your big picture is clear always.
Thank you,
Make
sir.
sense?
Yes.
And God and Guru know basically how fast or how slow we are. We don't know. We have few indicators. Looking at our own self, how far we have come. Previously, if somebody would touch me, I'll feel angry, and now somebody has to really punch me to make me angry. So those kind of yardsticks are always there. You can evaluate yourself on those. Previously, if somebody would say some word to you, it would hurt you. Now it doesn't matter. Previously, it used to take you weeks to come out of something. Somebody said something. Now it's a matter of few hours. Those are some of the yardsticks you can employ to see whether how quickly you are progressing on this path. Yeah. Yes. Maybe one last question, and then I have to go to Ram Katha. It's going to start, and I'm going to bring in all the nuggets. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories which Swamiji said in the initial session tomorrow. Sanshyatma, he started with Shanka, so I'll repeat those tomorrow. It helps me revise, memorize as well. So yes, one last question we can take, and please fill out the feedback tracker.
Sunday, your hand was raised.
I think I'm good. It's okay. Actually, I also started attending Swamiji's lecture and he's exactly talking about faith right now over there. And I'm like, this is just amazing.
Starting with Ram Katha and start talking about the importance of faith. Now, a lot of people, they do Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Govinda Bolo, Jai Jai Bolo, and then finally they say, yeah, I have a doubt. Is Krishna real? Is Ram real? Did Mahabharata really happen? Did Ramayana really take place? Right? So he said, don't have those kind of shankas. You'll not get the true benefit out of it, right? So we'll continue to talk about this topic. Tomorrow we'll conclude this topic. But thank you so much, everyone. We'll continue to have 45-minute session. Join in a little early, I would say, if you can, because we'll not do the shloka recitation. we will utilize that time for some of our discussions and going through some of the theory. So we'll do 45 to 50-minute sessions for this week. At least we are not canceling it, right? And then we can take benefit of Swamiji's lectures as well. So win-win both ways. Thank you, everybody. Radhe Radhe. Good night. Good day from my side.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you.